We can get started. Okay, so, all right, so let's move on to the next item here. Okay, information item on discipline suspension report.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows I was going to say this under other items by the superintendent, but on December 9th, Dr. Newman will present that data that you requested, and I didn't want you to think we forgot about it, Dr. Rouse.
Okay, thank you. Okay, motion for the minutes of the regular board meeting for last month. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Now, Dr. Rouse, you had questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President. This might be small, really small thing, but I just, and it's part of my learning process. I apologize if it's not the right thing or something like that. On other items by the board, there are two comments, and it says a board member said this, was concerned. I'm just wondering, do we place the name of the board member, or is standard practice just to put a board member? I reviewed the other previous minutes, and any other comments by board members, there is the name of the board member. And those two comments, I think I know who the board member was. I know their name. So,
Me?
no, it was me. Okay.
So if it's just a general comment, then that's what is recommended.
Oh, okay.
I think what I understand, though, Dr. Rouse is saying, though, that he's seen it in previous minutes where we did, and
To have that practice, yes.
okay, so we haven't done that in a little while, would you say?
I'd have to go back and look at the minutes and ask Tom to worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, because I just was wondering about that. Okay, nothing.
As of right now, it is pretty much general.
Okay, so probably we started last meeting, right? Last meeting was the first time. Yeah, because in the one in September, we have the board members' names there. Not a problem.
And Dr. Arauz,
Yes, sir.
I also, in the elementary district, all the years that I was there, and other districts, of course, but there, I remember expressly, because some people wanted you to put everything that they said in the minutes, and we refused to do that, word by word. No, I understand you're not asking for that.
Yeah.
And and what she's saying is you minimalize it and just to get the idea,
Yeah.
but not to get into, because it's really about the action items. That's the key thing.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
no, and
yeah.
I understand that, and by the way, it was a really good summary, so, of what is there. I'm not, my only question was, the previous month, we have the names, and this month, we did. So just wondering about that, right?
Well, and also the audio recordings are also available as well. So if you really need to know who was that spoke at the time, you can always go back and listen to it.
Yeah. Okay, not a problem, and I was just looking for equality, right?
Okay. Well, thank you.
And
Any-
also, on those.
This
comments,
is about dealing with the minutes still?
The same item.
Okay, go for it.
On the same item, there were two comments. Well, one comment by Dr. Greenberg, and I didn't see that summary. It might not seem important, but when I asked for the data and I explained that, the comment was the assistant superintendent doesn't have the time in order to look into that data, and it was. The second comment was for a fellow board member saying, yeah, the assistant superintendent doesn't have the time, and that was not recorded there. And it might not be significant, but I think that was something that it was said there, and at least not the whole everything, but that can be in one line. in
Well, I
one-
believe you're
one sentence.
misquoting me, if you don't mind me interrupting.
No, not a problem.
Since you interrupted me last month, I can interrupt you.
Yeah,
this
sure,
month.
anytime, not only because,
I believe I said it would cause extra work for the cabinet members, is what I had said, and that's why of the incidents you were talking about, I felt had not been investigated, and it would cause the cabinet members a lot of extra work on top of all the work they have to do now, is what I meant.
oh, okay. I'm glad that you're clarifying that. I thought that you were talking about the data, that I was requesting. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Ms.
You're
Cooley,
welcome.
that you clarified it. It's important. Okay, all right. And basically, that is the same, that's it in terms of the minutes. I ask Mr. President, and I apologize to everybody here for my learning curve, okay? So I'm not very proficient yet. I will get there. I am going to make a comment and address the board and the public in terms of data analysis and a small recommendation that I can make if I'm allowed to do it, and that is going to be under other items by the superintendent or the board. Thank you.
Okay, so that's going to be at the end of the board meeting. Okay. Okay, any other questions about the minutes from last month? Okay, please vote. Thank you. Okay. Agreements for employment, action item. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Dr. Rouse, second. Okay. Ms. Raines, I believe we have information on this one? Or do we have it?
We're just open to any questions. I know there's a question Dr. Rouse has. Well, maybe, can I just give a little bit of overview and then before the question? There's no change in these contracts other than updating their current salary. That's their salary. That's the reason the salary was crossed off. That was last year's salary. The practice in the district since I've been here is that the board has been generous to give me a 4-year contract, and I've tried to keep our assistant superintendent or chief human resource officer at 3. So there's no change to the agreements other than just pure transparency and giving you their current salaries. It's an update. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Mr. Gundis.
Did you have any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a question, it's just a comment. Since we are going to be voting, this is an action item, right? Okay, so let me start just saying that the cornerstone in our democratic society is freedom of speech, right? So I'm going to exercise my First Amendment of freedom of speech to share with everybody my thinking. The Brown Act, the intent of the Brown Act, so we don't need to talk about issues that the public needs to know, right? We need to honor that, and I want to honor that, so everybody knows how we go in situations. Last month, Ms. Wyman made a comment that made me think a lot, and also Dr. Lindbergh was asking questions. In terms of when we talk about having equal salary for the directors, compared with another districts that they were 20,000, 25,000 students, in our district of 10,000, right? And she was wondering about why, right? Why it has to be the same? So I started thinking about that, and now I take this opportunity again to think why, right? It has to be the same or even higher than another districts that they have. For example, the maximum salary is $185,000. I know districts that the assistant subs, the maximum is $170,000 when they have 25 schools, 20 plus thousand students, right? And that question is why we have that difference, even more. The other thing that caught my attention was we have 3 high schools, 1 middle school, Ferris Lake, and the academy. CMI. But CMI is not included on this 185,000 because it's an extra 5,000 for CMI. So what, we have 6 schools. Yeah, we have 6 small schools. I don't know how many students Paris Lake have in the academy, but I know the other schools. So I was just thinking again more depth about this, and I was wondering why is that the salary is even higher? Right? In one more school, $5,000. So now we're talking about a salary of $190,000, right? When the other district that they get 10,000 is concept. Plus, we're talking about $6,000 on car allowance, right? So, it's my understanding that it's common practice. A school district who has 34 schools, cabinet members, they go and visit the schools, right? There is a lot of mileage. $500 a month times 12 months is $6,000. The mileage, the reimbursement per mile is 0.575, or 57 and a half. 0.575. If we divide the $12,000 by 0.575, that is about close to 10,000. 10,434 miles that I doubt that going to Paris Lake or to the academy or to Paris High School or to any other trainings, right, or places, because 10,000 miles is the average, 12,000 is when you lease the car. That's what that's the average usage for everyday life, to commute, to work, and do all of that. So I was thinking about how I said, it's interesting, right? And I was just thinking about why $6,000. That is past practice. I understand that. We have been doing that for many years. Right? The fact that things are done for many years, they do not necessarily mean that that is the right thing. And I just wanted to express that concern. I'm only one vote, one member, right? And the difference, but I want the public and everyone to see and to know that we analyze before making our decisions, and we look into those situations. The other thing is, and please interrupt me if I get into something that it should be closed session or we get into a personnel issue. But it's my understanding that the contracts were open, right? Were in the agenda, and the public was able to see that. So that's why I put the liberty to address it. Otherwise, I would have consulted with you if this was appropriate. A contract is an agreement. We know all of us know that, right? It's an agreement between two parties. When they discuss the elements that are there. And I don't know the process, and I can be educated here, but we didn't go through that process on getting that meeting of willingness or understanding in terms of the elements of the contract. Because the contract is between the physical person, in this case the organization or the board, and unless I'm missing something, right, but as a universal principle of law, that is a contract. Right? When you discuss, you agree, and things like that. Not this is the contract, read it, and sign it, and vote. Right? I might be wrong. That is basically what I wanted to say in terms of this item. This item was to
Want me to answer?
Sure. Unless I misunderstand about contracts, that's why we pay the superintendent money to draw up contracts up. Because I certainly don't know anything about it. Carolyn and I are in this together, and I don't know how to do an administration contract, what it looks like or anything. So we're going to pay somebody who knows more than we are to do that, and make sure it's done right by the law.
I'm not, I don't have any doubt that it's not legal. right? What I'm saying is the specific elements, right? The specific elements, and probably I apologize if I'm not explaining myself.
No.
But also
correctly.
realize,
Yeah.
I know I'm interrupting you, so
No, no
you're,
problems, please.
you owe me, I'll sit back and let you interrupt me. A high school district is very different than an elementary district. You don't have as much time involved in an elementary district like a high school district where you have meetings and ball games and this stuff going on day and night. And so that's why people get paid, if you think, whatever you're thinking about in the contracts. And at least, a 7 through 12 district is harder to manage, and I think it deserves more monies and because of the time involved. You can have your whole life involved out there with kids and families and stuff in high school, and you know that.
I was going to tell you that, yes, I do that. But what I was talking about was when we made that
Right.
comparison, right? And I was thinking about another comment of another board member, and I was wondering about that. And I respect your perspective. Don't take me wrong. I might disagree, but I completely respect it. Yeah? And I will respect any opinion and any perspective. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to agree, right?
Right.
And we agree to that, right?
Right.
We agree that we can disagree. So, and that's why I started this address to the public and to the board with the cornerstone of a democratic
Sure.
society that I'm expressing my opinions, and I'm not expecting everybody to agree
No.
with this. I'm just wanting to know, right?
Sure.
What I think, and there might be some elements that I can say, hey, it's a valid point.
Sure.
Right? It's an excellent point. That they might change my mind, they might not.
Right.
But I just want to
Well, let me just jump in a little bit, and not in any defense. I appreciate your perspective, Dr. Russ. Let me tell you, these contracts are not written by me; they're written by your attorney. These contracts are bulletproof in the sense that if you want to fire anybody, including me or them, this contract allows you to do it. Meaning, this contract is written leaning towards the board's perspective of being the employer. I don't write it as an employee. So all of these contracts have gone through legal counsel who you pay for, meaning I would never bring to you a contract that I'm recommending. I'd bring you a contract that law firm is recommending that can withstand a challenge if you were to terminate one of us. That being said, when you talk about salaries, these salaries were set a long time ago. And so they've gone up every year. But I want to remind you, you are paying these teachers in this district. They're the highest paid teachers in the county. Your classified employees are not the highest paid in the county, but I think they're really competitive and health benefits are coming up. Why would a cabinet not be paid? I can tell you, my salary is about midpoint in this county. There are other superintendents making more. If you go into San Diego County, the superintendent of Vista Unified, which is a unified district, about $25,000, he's making over $320,000, $100,000. So, and when we look at districts, we look at Lake Elsinore, we look at Hemet, we look at districts in our area. We look at Murrieta, we look at Temecula, and again, when I'm speaking about their salaries, because my contract's not up for renewal, theirs is, I feel that, number one, they're in line. They're not excessive, number one. And number two, that I feel that the job they've done or the job they will do is outstanding as a result of all the indicators that we keep talking about board meeting to board meeting. And finally, what I would say about mileage is don't forget that mileage is also in lieu of a car. This district used to pay, and most districts used to give cabinet members cars. And the district would service the car, Ed remembers the old days when districts used to be into automobiles, which they realized was a losing cause because superintendents are taking their cars home, they're driving it on the weekends, they get in accidents. So lawyers have said, you don't want to do that. You want to pay them a stipend, let them drive their own car, have their own insurance, and be responsible. But $500 is really on the bottom end in this county. The superintendent in your district has $500 a month, and he's got less driving than I do, I contend, because he can go to meetings in Riverside in 10 minutes that take me half an hour or 40 minutes. In Hammett next door, the superintendent has $750 a month in mileage. Granted, a larger area, square miles, but 500 is really the low end of mileage in the district. And here's the thing, if you ask these people and me to submit mileage every month, that's going to take time for us to do. It's going to take time for someone to process that. We pay an amount of money to the county every time they produce a check for the district. So again, I so appreciate your questions. They're right on target, but I want you to know the contracts are written in your favor. The salaries are comparable. They're not excessive. They're a little higher than median, I would agree. But I think, again, when you look at the employees in the district, I think they perform at a level above median. But I think you have great questions. And like I said, anytime I could have the lawyer sit down with you and tell you that these are the exact contracts he told me to bring forward, not ones that these employees have written, and I'm responsible. My credibility is on the line. If I brought a contract forward that favored one of these employees, I couldn't do that and wouldn't do that. So I appreciate the questions. Yeah, which I think makes things much harder. Elementary districts, I can tell you, I've been in unified districts, and so have you, and you will find out that you don't have any problems at you don't have parents coming to the board meeting from elementary district. We have elementary schools. Very little at middle school, high schools, and remember, our high schools are not small high schools. There are over 3,000 students, and Paris High's getting close to that as well. So again, I'm not trying to debate it. I'm just trying to indicate that we are a different animal.
Any other questions or comments? No? Okay. Please vote for this. For the contracts. Okay. Thank you.
Just takes 3 votes. 3 votes.
Okay, action item for guest counselor salary schedule. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Swartz would like to speak on this.
Yeah, thank you. Remember a couple months ago I brought to you the increase for our guest teachers. We wanted to be competitive, actually more than competitive, to draw more guest teachers to us willing to work in our district. When we did that, also some of the was brought to us a concern about when we brought in substitute counselors. And we will bring in substitute or guest counselors. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to that. I'm still getting the look from these two. But we're bringing in guest counselors, not for just a short term. Generally, if we have a counselor out for just a short time, we won't necessarily have a person come in to replace them, because there really isn't to get somebody up to speed on what needs to be done in this district. Would just take too much time. Wouldn't make sense to bring somebody in. But when we do have somebody out for a long term, or we've had a person leave for whatever reason, and we've got to have somebody come in and fill, or even do some training for new people like we did this year for one of our new counselors that's a standalone counselor at Paris Lake. We utilize our some retired counselors from this district who are trained, who can come in from day one and hit the ground running, and utilize them to work with the rest of the team and certainly do training as need be, because that's going to provide the best service for our students, so there's not a lack of service for them. And I don't need to tell you how important the counselors are in the whole educational program. So I'm bringing to you tonight a recommendation for an increase to the to our guest counselor salary schedule. We've had in the past, it's been $150. Currently, it's $150, and then $175 for a long term. We did some research. I checked around the county for what they're doing. Do they even bring them in? Kind of all over the place for the most part. But we felt that, and the recommendation tonight is to bring forward to you a new rate starting at day one would be for $210 on a daily rate for them. So that's our recommendation tonight.
Thank you. And other people behind me have said thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Swartz, please vote. Thank you. Okay. Action item on agreement with a solution tree. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
No. He's getting in there, but just wasn't fast enough. Okay, you have information on solution tree?
Yes. As you know, we've been doing PLCs in the district, professional learning communities, for a long time, every Monday throughout the district, except for at Pentecostal when they do it a different day. We do professional learning communities, and the purpose of this grant wanted us to make sure that we're retraining the principals and the leadership team and the department chairs on what PLCs are about and what the good ones look like. So we think this is a really important item and would appreciate it. Yeah, it does. It's been a long time since we've trained them, and I think we forgot that we need to keep doing that from time to time.
Any questions, comments? No? Okay, please vote. Thank you.
Does that mean hurry up?
Action item on buildings and grounds, the award of bid 110915 for district office repair and reconfiguration. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have information on this one as well.
Well, Art and Hector told me, since I didn't let them talk last time, that they'd like to explain this.
We'd like to say a few words. I'll keep it brief. I was told yesterday my explanation on the floor here at the district office was what I said in 4 paragraphs. Art said in about 3 words. So. Yeah. Well, thank you for the opportunity to give you a little bit of information on this item, and I will be brief. Like any piece of equipment, any building, our houses, our cars, everything needs maintenance. Everything needs every once in a while to get an oil change, to get things added, to get things fixed. District office building is the same thing. It's been a long time since we've been able to do any kind of repairs, routine maintenance. During the economic downturn, we've concentrated on the sites. We've concentrated on students and staff and the sites. But the district office, we've put Band-Aids on a lot of things here at the district office. So one of them being the floor. Any of us have walked around upstairs on the 2nd floor know that there's low spots and there's high spots. There's one spot where you feel like you're walking upstairs for a little bit, then you go down, and it's to be frank, it's a tripping hazard. We'd like to repair that. Regular routine maintenance items like the doors going into the building on the 2nd floor. Every month, every 2 months, sometimes twice a month, we have to get a company out to adjust them, fix them. Once again, a Band-Aid on a problem. There's other things we need to fix up there. As a district, we've grown. We've added staff. We've put them in different places. We put them any little nook and cranny we can find. So we need to address that issue also. Move some walls around, some workstations, some workflow. We have staff that works in a confidential role that they're kind of sitting out there in the middle of, anybody can hear what staff is or people come in and do business. So we're going to address that concern too. This item, the award of this contract to this company over Christmas break, we're going to be addressing these issues, the maintenance issues, the doors, the floors. As a matter of fact, here in the boardroom, what I'm standing under could fall on me at any minute.
Why do you think I'm over here?
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's even more reason to be brief, right there.
It's not that bad, but the circle, I call it the teleporter. The teleporter does weigh hundreds of pounds, and the floor upstairs has settled. The low spots, one of the low spots is right above where this teleporter is, and so this will be removed, and we'll be fixing floor joists, painting, doors, air conditioning ducts, and just freshening up the building, starting with the upstairs and also down here in the boardroom. You got anything, Art? Sorry.
I don't have to say anything.
All right,
you very much.
Do we have any questions
Yeah,
for
any questions?
for them? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please vote. Art, you were really brief. I appreciate that. Joan, Carolyn? I said please vote. Thank you. Okay, information revolving cash report. Still revolving, still has cash. Board policy series 5,000, information for you. Information board policy series 6,000, more information for you. Okay, closed session if necessary.
No, sir.
Thank you. Good answer. Action item, discipline board review of student discipline matters. Do I have a motion?
Second. It's an opportunity.
Any questions about these? Okay, please vote. Thank you. Other items by the superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. President. Two items. One, the board asked for some reports at future meetings, and as I said earlier, the discipline report, comprehensive report by Dr. Newman, looking at all the discipline issues in the district and by school, will be on December 9th. We'll also give a report on the success of our ELD program and our challenges as well, because we have challenges, and we'll do the same on student achievement on January 20th. So I wanted to give the board a heads up on that. Finally, I want to apologize to you, Dr. Rouse, and to the board for being argumentative and defensive at the last board meeting. I will try harder to improve in that area. I sincerely apologize.
Okay, thank you. Other items by the Board of Trustees. Dr. Rouse?
Oh, that's true. No, probably from here. And I want to talk loud enough, I think, to be recorded. Okay. I was reading the district's mission statement, and one of the final paragraphs says to help students to become productive members in our society. The ultimate goal at the district and at the high school, I consider, is to prepare the students to be successful, first of all, getting their high school diploma. That is one of the best accomplishments. Helping them get ready to go to college, completing the A through G, filling out the FAFSA completion, something that we are addressing here. And I just would like to make a parenthesis to make a recommendation. I'm not an expert, absolutely not in terms of this, but I'm glad about all the promoting college that we are doing with Dr. Newman and Ms. Cyril. If I make a small recommendation. There is a Cal State University, I think it's Cal State University, Stanislaus, that they have on-the-spot acceptance. So they can come to the high school and they review the application and they give the provisional letter of acceptance to the high school. So I think that is something really neat that can help our students. And there might be another Cal State universities, maybe Dr. Newman and Ms. Cyril, they are already considering that, yeah? Just in case if they, okay. High school graduation, college education, and career and technical education. And I think the pastor, I forgot his name. Dr. Capers mentioned something really important about students having a technical career. Something that I would like to make, again, a recommendation, and I know that this is not from the board, it's just from a board member, right? To focus and look for specific technical careers, not a class that the students took in high school. Oh, I have some knowledge about computers. I took a class on computers. I have some knowledge in horsemanship, because we offer horsemanship, right? Floral design. But when they graduate, they get their high school diploma, they are going to go to the university or to a community college, and they look for a job. What is what they can get there? It is my understanding that Perry's High School, and probably here is Mr. Hilton, we have the Medical Assistant Professional Program. Excellent program that our students are going to graduate with their high school diploma and a certificate saying, I am a medical assistant. And this program is supported by the Agency Economic Development of Rivers and San Bernardino counties, headed by Dr. Jan Husin, I believe is his name. He's a doctor in economy, that says that by 2020, we are going to have thousands of openings for medical assistants. And that is what our students need. That is what the pastor was talking about. And I think this is excellent, in focusing on specific careers that our students are going to say, I'm a technician on this, not having a knowledge. So something to think about on the vision, because we're talking about the mission statement. And remember that the mission statement is what we are doing, right? What we are doing now. And that is helping our students to be there. The other item that I wanted to address, and even though it was clarified by Ms. Coley, what was the comment, and by Dr. Greenberg, but I just want to raise our level of awareness in terms of data analysis and analytics to develop and help set the direction of a district or any organization, right? As you can see, if you know about baseball, they are doing analytics. They are very focused on data and analyzing the strengths, the weaknesses. How is what we are going to continue. Here in our district, the kind of data, and this is something that last meeting I was kind of sad. I don't know if I was sad, upset, or disappointed. When it was mentioned that your data arose, it is not my data. It's the data of all of us. It's the data of the district. It's the data of the public in order to help us analyze and see if we are being successful. Because we can implement a lot of programs, but what is the data telling us? Another issue is, are we really addressing the needs of all of our students? I'm really glad on those presentations, and I'm looking forward for those presentations next month and in January to look into how are ELs performing. Are they graduating from high school? Are they meeting the A through G? Are they completing the FAFSA application that I know in advance that the answer is yes, right? Because we have, at least at Heritage High School, like 78 or 79%, probably from last year. There is some room for improvement at Perry's High School. But when we mention this room for improvement, I'm making a big call to all the stakeholders that is not about pointing the finger, you are not doing a good job. We are not looking at this from that perspective. I want to look at this as there is the opportunity to make a change, right? Please, when I mention something like that, I'm not saying you're not doing a good job. We have only 60% of the students. There is a big opportunity here to make a better job. And together, with our support, providing the resources, working with the district administration, the board members, administrators, teachers, parents, we can accomplish that. So that is going to let us know how our African American population are doing. Are they going to college? What percent? Special ed. Foster youth. They need our help, mostly foster youth. We are their only hope. If nobody helps them, believe me, if we don't help them, nobody's going to do it. So we have a great opportunity here to make a difference in the lives of the foster kids, low socioeconomic levels. Their parents, they don't have that vision. They just looking at their mission, provide what is necessary for my son or my daughter to live, to try to be successful. But what is the vision? Going to college. Do they know that they can go to college? And what is what we are doing? And I'm really glad. I know that those results are going to be great, right? And if not, we're already working on that. A recommendation that I would like to do so we don't have misinterpretations or misunderstandings on the data. Unfortunately, Mr. Bennett is not here, but maybe this can be transmitted to him. If when we analyze the data, we can look at the number of students. Let's say I ask for AP students who have access to AP classes. That is not necessarily the same thing that success in AP classes. They need to meet a 3 or better in AP. High school graduation completions and so on. If we can please identify the number of students and the percents, that can give us a better idea, right? Stay a little bit away from GPA, because the GPA doesn't tell us the whole picture in the story. Let me give you an example. If we have 100 students, let's say special ed students, 100, that's the population to make it simple. And 60% of the students, 50 students have an A. That is 4 points, right? 50 times 4 is 200. And the other 50 have an F. The other 50 students, they are not passing the classes. 0 points. 200 divided by the 100, what is the GPA, the overall GPA? 2.0. We are doing, it's kind of okay, right? We are doing okay, 2.0. But we have 50 students that they are failing. That's what I talk about when I said, and I insist to look at the numbers and identify the areas of improvement that we can do. If only 10 students improve and they get an A, now we are going to have a huge improvement and we are going to be celebrating, which is good, celebrate our successes. What is going to be the GPA now if we have 60 and 40 failing? 2.4, right? Yeah? 6 times 4, 24, divided by the 100 is 2.4. 2.4 GPA, wow, what percent is that? It's 20% increase. 0.4 of 2 points, 40% increase. Wow, it's great. But what about my 40 students that are there? And who are those 40 students? It might be a significant group. It might be foster kids. Or they might be ELs, or Hispanics, or African Americans. What is what we are going to do? So I'm talking about this to raise that level of awareness and continue to use that, not only next month or in January, but evaluating. And I think we started that process because Dr. Greenberg in his report was talking about Dr. Newman saying, we have this increase and our goal is to have it to this. That is what we need. right? To guide the direction and achieve the ultimate goal of helping our students become productive members of our society with a high school diploma, A through G, FAFSA completion, and they can go to college. If we believe that they can go to college and we provide the resources, they will go to college. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. Trustee Twyman?
I just wanted to ask what was happening with unification.
Unification cannot occur in Menifee until they have another high school. They can't unify. Right now, they would have close to 5,000 high school students at Paloma Valley High School. It's just untenable. So we're waiting and hoping that there'll be a state bond measure in November of 16. We have our share for the new high school in Menifee, and if we can get the state construction money, which if it's approved in November of 16, I would say that maybe we start construction by 2018 and that high school may be done by 2020. If that was the timeline, I think then Menifee would have to still look at the 9 criteria. They still have to go through the process, but if I won't be your superintendent, but my recommendation to my successor would be to let unification happen if that's what the people in Menifee want to do when they have the ability to house all their students. Right now, they don't have the ability to house all the students in their school district. And the same would be true someday about Romaland with Heritage High School. Someday, they're going to finish that flood control work, and that's going to take off. There's going to be so many homes there that we won't be able to put the east side of Menifee students at Heritage. They're going to have to go to another school, and that school is not Paloma. Paloma is now back up at 3,000. It was down to 2,300 after we opened up Heritage. So the growth in Menifee and the rest of the district is just exploding. Hopefully we'll get the state to understand that they have a responsibility in helping us build schools.
Well, we used to have a meeting with Menifee. Are we not having?
Well, I mean that's ultimately a board decision, but my recommendation would be not to have a board meeting with Menifee because I think it's disrespectful to Paris Elementary, to Romaland, and to Newview because they also all want to unify someday. And so we could have a meeting with Menifee, but we would just be telling them the same thing. Until that high school's done, there's really no reason to even talk about unification because, again, a district has to be able to house all of their students. And right now, Menifee can't do that at the high school level. They're having a difficult time at the elementary level. They've got schools now over 1,000 in elementary school. So it's not just this high school. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's a matter of timing, Carolyn, the way I see it. It's inevitable, this district is not opposed to that, so they have to unify. And I said a long time ago the elementary district would be the easiest to unify here, but there's not a lot of willpower to do that, mainly because I convinced them not to unify with the high school district because as a superintendent of a unified district myself, I spent most of my time at the high school with high school issues. So I said, why would we want to unify? You're not going to get the kind of the lower grade children. We're not going to get the kind of support from administration because they're tied up with drug, sex, and rock and roll at the high school. So that's it. So. But it's all a matter of timing to have a meeting, and to discuss things that are not under our control. Now, when we see the light at the end of the tunnel, maybe that's the time to start having those meetings. But right now, even when Jonathan is saying about 16, and that's the best case scenario, but the state. The governor hasn't wanted to put that on the agenda, the state agenda, and so I don't know what's going to change to put that on the front burner, because he's got water issues and all kinds of other things, and so maybe El Nino will help us out, and maybe we have another El Nino well, this year and then the following year, and maybe we'll have our reserves up, and they'll turn their attention from water to and other issues that they have to school. They don't want to finance them, and so we're lucky if they'll want to, go down the road. And if things are going to have to get a lot worse in housing students before the governor or the state legislature. They have to get pressured before they decide, well, we're going to fund, and give you the money. We have the money to do it. If we had the money, we'd do it. But to have a meeting at this time, we're going to have another one when the time comes to really talk. You got to have the money to do it.
We've done our part.
Yeah, we got our money, and we're ready to. Okay, let's go get it.
I just wanted to. We used to have Menifee Paris. That was our discussion. We had meetings. We had at least one meeting.
I went to those. Yeah, I was there too.
So I assumed that was already a done deal. Like we were actually going to have a Menifee Paris unification.
Well, that was when the county addressed the report, the unification study, where Menifee didn't meet all the 9 criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought we were going to eventually meet that with the new high school.
Yes, but again, the new high school is no. I mean, the good news is our plans are up in Sacramento. We're waiting for approval, and
You're talking about like 2018.
that would be at this point. That would be my best guess. If everything goes right, we could start construction in 2018. But there's a lot of things that can go wrong to change that. But
Well, part of it is the issue of students' information being shared with the high school. We're coming from Menifee,
Right.
a union district
Right.
also, to a district that doesn't always have all the same information that you would get from a unified district.
well, I can tell you that, and again, there are people in the audience who know more about this than me, but historically, we've gotten great data from Romoland. We've gotten data from Newview. We've gotten good data from Paris L. We've struggled a little bit with Menifee trying to get us the data, but it's improving. Our relationship with Menifee has improved immensely, and so we're getting that data. But I can tell you that, again, we're in favor of unification when the time's right. But I can also tell you, having worked in unified districts, that sometimes in unified districts, they're the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high school, and the 3 of them don't talk. So unification is not a guarantee that there's going to be a better, more cohesive educational environment. In fact, I'm a little prejudiced, and I admit that right up front, to say I consider our 3 high schools to be really good schools, and not that the elementary districts can't run them too, but I'm just going to say the level of attainment of things that have happened at those 3 schools, it's going to take an elementary district to make sure they've got the expertise to be able to take a successful. This is like being manager of the Dodgers. I mean, I guess I could sit there in the dugout, but that's a $270 million payroll and a real talented team that needs a manager with some experience. But again, Mrs. Twyman, we're sharing data, and the relationship between the districts is much better than it's ever been.
Yeah,
I
that
actually,
was
on the
one-
data, I just confirmed with Joe and Shane, and they said we have 100% no problems getting data. All of that's resolved now. But you're right, that did used to be an issue.
Yeah, it used to be a big issue. So anything we could do to actually help the students with getting the right class
Right.
would be my concern.
Sure. We agree with you 100%, Mrs. Twyman.
Dr. Greenberg, now I have one question. Now this is the question. And if we don't know here the answer, not a problem. I just thought about it. In our district, here in Paris Union, if a student takes a class, usually an elective class, and is pass or fail, when we calculate the GPA, is that taken in consideration or is a C? And they get 2.0, 2 points.
Any of our principals know the answer to that?
Is not calculated.
So it doesn't count as a C. It just
Doesn't count as a
you
C.
get the credits, you get the units, but you don't. It doesn't harm your GPA.
They get an F. I mean, the F's go in, but a pass is not calculated in the GPA.
Okay.
neither the F, right? So they don't
No,
get it.
an F will go in as, counting the total number of classes and things like that, but the pass doesn't have the same thing associated with it.
Okay.
That's why, like, student aids and things, classes like that, we don't want those figured into the GPA, because
You're going to have a negative effect,
will
yeah.
artificially lower it for an advanced student.
Okay, but
Okay.
so and those are just on the ones that are not A to G compliant. Those only.
Correct.
Okay.
In order for an A to G class to count as A to G, they have to get
They
a
have
C
to
or
get
better.
it, yeah.
Okay, so this is not including those. Okay, I just want to make sure about that. Go down the line. Ms. Cooley, do you have a?
I wanted to mention to Mr. Schwartz upon his new job performance, new job position, that my husband, Dr. Bob Cooley, was a superintendent for over 35 years in Colorado and came here. We both came here and started a new life here, and he started teaching over at Pentecostal, and he absolutely loved it. And he did go back into the classroom, and that was, some of the happiest time that he had had. So good luck to you, and I know you'll enjoy it. And it kind of, well, I've always thought also when I'm on the subject, I think every administrator, principal on down should have to teach one class to keep their hand in what's going on and how kids act and tell you FU and all that, but it does still go on. And so good luck to you, and we will really, really miss you. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And that's all I have to.
Okay.
Moving right along. Yeah. I want to compliment Steve as well and thank him for his service. And you're not going to be far, so I was going to say I'm going to miss you, but you're not going to be far there. I might. But I really appreciated you and trusted your knowledge and wisdom. I also want to commend Joe, your crew, the technology, and anybody that's involved with that. I'm mentoring the superintendent from McFarland Unified, where I used to be a superintendent there, and there was just that road trip that they took. Well, I recommended they come see you guys, right? If you want to start something in technology or want to do it right, go see Paris Union. And so they did, and I've heard a lot of compliments. I just came back today. I was up there yesterday, and nothing but compliments. And and you treated them right, and appreciate that. And I think one board member came, right? Yeah, one. I think. And he was saying something about that as well. And so I think they're if they follow this process, I think they'll be way ahead because they had no idea where they were going. And I'm going to mention the Coachella Valley is because they said at another meeting I was sitting with the board. I said we don't want to go the Coachella way, and where they bought all this equipment and they didn't have the support. And you guys are doing it the right way, and they saw that right away because I assured them that you guys didn't follow that way, and so. I want to compliment and kudos to your team, okay?
Thank you, Dr. Rouse. They kind of stole my thunder over here, but I also want to say thank you for your service, Mr. Schwartz, and to have fun in your new job. Welcome to the ranks of the PE teachers. So, and I hope you have fun in that endeavor for you, and then in finishing out your career in the classroom. And congratulations to Ms. Davis, who's kind of filling your shoes there. So good. Think that's it from me for those, and I believe that's it from everybody. So I don't know if your feet will fit in his shoes, but okay. Okay, step right into him. And a whistle. Don't forget a whistle. And shorts. Okay, motion for adjournment.
Second.
Now we're moving fast, aren't we?
It's time.
Okay, please vote.
Next meeting.
Okay. Meeting is adjourned at 7:37.
I've been trying to cut. I've been.